Okay. Welcome. This is Jay Larson with the Idaho Technology Council, and today is April 22nd, 2021, and we are coming live from Boise, Idaho, and we have a special guest on Innovation Matters today. And it's President Bert Glandon with College of Western Idaho. And we always usually start sometimes with a quote, some side of quote. But the quote, I sat there and I'm going, what kind of quote can we start with? Well, we're going to change it right now. We're going to have Bert tell us about this quote, because on his tagline on his email, he has this thing that's called "Be safe, be mighty." Bert, welcome, and tell us about that quote, if you wouldn't mind.
Well, actually, that's our branding department has come up with several different. We've had several different brandings over the 12-year period. And Jay, thanks for having me on today. I do appreciate it. And CWI is just an anomaly in the community college business nationally. Be safe, and actually, within a week or two, we're changing the hashtag fearless, because we've been through this last year, and it's not just be mighty about what you're doing and be courageous about what you're doing, but we need to be fearless about what we're doing. We can't let fear run our lives. And this college has demonstrated over and over and over, yes, during the pandemic, we got to be safe. We got to be safe with faculty, with students, with staff, but we also need to step out and be mighty about what we're doing and be risk takers in terms of making sure that we're serving our community, our students, and everybody to be successful and truly win.
And that fearless thing is really good, and being mighty and fearless, especially with the way this COVID thing has really just impacted our lives over the last year, right, Bert?
Yeah, I got to tell you, a year ago March, when we were sitting in cabinet, and I think it was a Wednesday or a Thursday, we were sitting in cabinet. We got the news that we had this first major on-campus breakout, and literally in a matter of 24 hours, we pivoted. The entire cabinet went remote. The college actually was moving right on to spring break, and we worked through the weekend. Cabinet worked through the weekend saying, okay, what are we going to do? How are we going to make this happen? What are we going to make happen? And as opposed to having fear control us, we immediately went into how are we going to make sure that our students get all of their coursework by the end of this semester, get everything completed. And I will tell you, I was so proud. At the end of 2 weeks, we had pivoted. We had moved everything to either online. We had a large number of programs online anyway, but we had business and industry coming into us and saying, we know that you have to have certification welders. We know that your healthcare have to have clinicals. We know that they have to demonstrate these skills. How are you planning on doing that between now and graduation in June? And the industry around us, businesses around us, galvanized with our faculty. And our faculty said, we're going to guarantee our students that we're going to get them all through. We're going to get them through the coursework. And more importantly than that, in that 2-week period, the faculty ramped up, and we had a full delivery of online programs for the summer. And we actually had an increase in enrollment that summer when the pandemic hit. And that was unheard of in terms of what was occurring, what was happening. I got to tell you, somebody had once said, I don't know who quoted it one time, courage doesn't mean that you have a lack of fear. Courage is that you are fearless, but you understand what you need to do to be successful and make it work.
Well, I really love that. You had within 14 days, you had everything transferred over. You had started making the pivot you needed. Yep. And you worked with industry to be able to make that happen. You know why I wanted to ask you about this, be safe, be mighty, because I think sometimes you get things that are kind of memorable. And one of mine is watching with one of my little granddaughters, and she was watching Cinderella. And they always had Cinderella said, you got to be kind, be brave, be mighty type thing, be fearless. I love this. So it's the Bert Glandon way. Bert, so talk to us a little bit. You've got, I'm sure most people know that you announced your retirement, and in June you're going to be going to other greener pastures as well, because you've done so many things. You've been really the president at College of Western Idaho, and congratulations on being one of the fastest growing community colleges in the nation. Can you talk a little bit about your time there and maybe what some of the biggest things you're most proud of?
Well, There are so many things, and most of it revolves around team and people, the people. The most success that we had was with picking the right people, hiring the right people, moving in the right directions. But I was so thrilled to be able to come to a brand new community college, do a startup college, which there's not that many opportunities anymore in the higher education arena to do a startup college. We came in with the attitude, and we developed a team immediately about doing business differently. And by doing business differently, education for 200 years has been around and is really entrapped in history and the dogmatic and the bureaucracy and everything that's going on. And the thing I probably most feel best about is the ability to hire a team of people that came together, and that includes the administration, the faculty, and a lot of the staff. That in the first branding we talked about, we were the can-do college. That literally was our branding. We can do it. What do you want? We can do it. And we sat down in those first 2 or 3 years building the plane as we were flying it, as they constantly referred to. And we were doing things that a lot of other schools never even thought about doing or never thought they could do. We didn't know we couldn't do it. So we were doing stuff, and we were making huge progress in terms of that. The enrollment growth is staggering. I mean, nobody had ever heard of a community college doubling their enrollment every semester for the first 3 years. That was one thing in and of itself. Of course, we got huge recognition for the enrollment growth. This community, to tax themselves to start a community college, was at a timely point when there was a huge need. And this community, when they taxed themselves to start CWI, created opportunity that was not there prior to that time. And anytime you have a group of people or a community where you create opportunity, you create hope. And hope, believe me, anybody and everybody can come to a community college. We don't turn anybody away. And we figure out what it's going to take to make them better citizens and make them better people in terms of educating them. CWI in those first 4 or 5 years just literally knocked it out of the park in terms of being a can-do college and figuring out how are we going to make this happen. There's a lot of my colleagues nationally that would be calling me in the first 2 years and say, you got to be kidding me. You're doubling in size every semester. How are you possibly handling that? Well, I had a team of people and I had a team of faculty that really embraced how do we make it happen? How can we deliver business differently and make this work? And the student success is unbelievable. Jay, we talk about enrollment growth all the time, and it's a huge community. It's now the largest community college in the state. And what we're missing is the students that are coming out of CWI, the graduates. These are high-class people. Just a couple weeks ago, I got notification that again, for the 8th year, CWI speech and debate team won the national championship. This is a community college that's competed in speech and debate for 10 years. 8 of the 10 years, they've brought home the national championship.
Are you serious? So you've only been in existence, and you're basically 80% of the time you go, you win. Bert, that's basic.
Exactly. And I have to laugh because Jerry Beck, who was the president at CSI when we were first established, he said, Bert, we would kind of feel we want to help you, we want to help you get off the ground, get going. They were our host college before we got our full accreditation. And so the first speech and debate team that came out, he said, well, we'll waive your fees and we'll help you with this. Well, the first year we came out and beat them in the regional championships. And he says, well, that's over. He said, you're
now game on right now, right? You're getting too good at this point.
I have never heard nationally of a community college that has won back-to-back speech and debate titles, let alone winning 8 titles in 10 years. That's unheard of. And it's not just speech and debate. We've got our career and technical programs. We've got our skills programs that are winning national championships. We've got international business. The quality of student that's coming out of here is absolutely phenomenal. And that's a real kudo and an attribute to the faculty being committed to excellence. We actually committed in our Embry program. We were competing against universities in the science and the research areas. Not that we do research, we don't do legitimate research in terms of that, but we're training our students to be prepared to do the research.
Yeah, the Embry, I'm on that Embry board, advisory board, and that's a great program that you can get to be able to do life science research and be able to help people go to the next level. So that's great that you're doing that. Bert, you brought something that kind of sparked. So it sounds like the people who they come to CWI, they look for a recalibration or a retooling or something that's going to take place with them to be able to help them. What do most of the people when they leave? I mean, like you have maybe 12,000 students right now or something like that. How many do you have?
We have 33,000 students.
Online and everything that you're talking about.
Total. Yeah, and we're also the largest deliverer of dual credit college courses in the high school. We have over 17,000 students just in dual credit right now.
So when these people get their associates or whatever they get as they graduate, what do they usually do? And what are the percentage? Do obviously some go on to other 4-year degrees or whatever, but what else do they do?
Yeah, we got about, I think it's 20-some% go on to their BA degree, and some of them actually don't finish their associate degree here. They'll get a year or maybe a little bit more and move on to Boise or Idaho State or Boise State University or University of Idaho. So there's a lot of fluidness in terms of students moving through the College of Western Idaho. And obviously we have a huge component that are in career and technical fields that are getting jobs right out of their programs.
Yes.
In fact, we have some programs we really struggle because we have some that don't finish their program because they get employed before they actually complete their certification programs. So we have to work on bringing them back in and making sure they actually do get certified long term.
Well, Bert, it seems to me, this is what I've known you for almost a decade, right? I've watched you, and you're kind of this Wild West Bill Hickok type guy, right? You're making things happen. They're fluid. Why has that been such a big thing for you? I mean, your success there is legendary, but a lot of it has to be because you're so fluid, right? You adapt and you move quickly, right? And why is that so important for higher education these days?
Well, I think I came out of corporate life, and I think my lifestyle, I'm high energy, I'm ADD, and I'm hyperactive in a lot of regards. They've got other names for me too, but we won't use that on the broadcast. I have always lived my life. In fact, I've got a sign in my office. One of the signs in the office says, if it isn't an impossible dream, don't bother sharing it with me. Because literally, I want to do the kinds of things, and I want to have the next great adventure where who says it's impossible, and let's figure out how to make it happen. Because there is nothing that's impossible if you really got passionate, dedicated people to move it forward. And I think when you talk about big accomplishments with CWI, look at what's happened at CWI. We've been able to put teams together over and over and over and get programs together and get the kinds of things together that we're outperforming literally other schools in the region. I mean, we're meeting the student need, and we're meeting business and industry need. One of the real things I think was an advantage for me coming out of business and industry was they're literally, Jay, you know this probably as well as anybody else. There's two languages. There's the higher education language, and then there's the business language. And one of the real struggles in getting highly skilled employees into the marketplace is this different language that we have between the two areas. And I think one of the things CWI has been able to break down quite a bit is meeting, like with you, Jay, you and I meet, and somehow we finally get to a common language where we say, no, this is what we need. We need this kind of skill set over here, and we're not delivering it. Okay, how do we get that built into the program so we're delivering that skill set for you? And then it's a win. It's a win for the industry.
Right.
And literally, of course, one of the big ones was Western Cat when they came in and actually partnered with us and built a diesel program that they said, we need an AA degree in a year, not in 2 years. And we worked with them and they worked with us. Believe me, it took 1.5 years to put that together and for everybody to agree on how we were going to do it. But in a year and a half, in that 1.5 years, we developed a diesel tech program, which produces diesel technicians within a year. Now they go to school 8 hours a day, 5 days a week, but it's a different model and it helps serve that particular industry. Apprenticeship programs, I think we've talked about those across the board. Those are explosive right now. But apprenticeship programs is another area where we're actually listening to business and industry and saying, okay, what needs to happen to make this work?
Bert, okay, so I've been, like you're saying, this is just impressive about the quality of a student that comes in and what you're helping them become. And how I love the idea that you're talking about, you want people to shoot for stars. You want big, audacious goals, right?
Right.
Now let's talk about, you're going to retire. you're going to be leaving. There's going to be a new president at College of Western Idaho, which is going to be really weird to talk about because you've just been, I mean, I can't. I'll say you what? No, where's Bert? Where's Bert? Where's President Glandon? It's going to be difficult. But talk a little bit about what's the future you see of College of Western Idaho, and then can you talk a little bit about what you see with respect to innovation and how that's played a major role in growing industry in Idaho? Specifically the Treasure Valley for you.
Well, the Treasure Valley is explosive, and as you know, the Treasure Valley is growing dramatically still. Yet, furthermore, I think CWI. In fact, we just sat down. We finished our. We moved from a 5-year. We had a 5-year strategic plan when I started in 2009. And as you know, Jay, in 18 months, we went through the 5-year plan. I mean, we literally blew the 5-year plan up within 18 months. So we went to a 5-year, and then we said, okay, no, a 5-year plan really doesn't work for strategic planning. We need to go to a 3-year rolling. So we have a 3-year rolling strategic plan. We're just in the process of resetting that right now. I feel really good because I know that 9-10 years ago when I talked about CWI would be at 60,000 or 30,000 students, it made a lot of people nervous, mostly administrators at the college. Don't overcommit. You maybe have a nut loose here. Now we're sitting down, and actually the administrative team in this last go around, I'm talking about in the next decade getting to 65,000 students. And actually, for the first time, most of my team and a lot of the faculty are even engaged. Oh yeah, we can easily get to 65,000 students. Well, you couldn't have that conversation 5 years ago. 5 years ago, they would have looked at you and said, yeah, you need to have a mental check. You need to go back. That's not going to happen. But this college is going to continue to grow. This college is going to continue to be successful. This college is continue to be innovative, entrepreneur, and creative. The team that's in place right now will still carry forward a lot of those strategies that we're doing right now. And the partnerships, the Success Academy, we're doing a lot of innovative things across the board. I don't see that changing because that seed has been planted for the last 10, 12 years, and it's now starting to bloom and grow. And it's starting to really take hold with faculty across the board and staff in terms of saying, no, we can do that. And we're going to be fearless. We're going to be risk takers. We're going to be cautiously optimistic, but we're going to be risk takers. And we're going to continue to step out and say, okay, how do we do business differently? And how do we better serve the Western Treasure Valley?
And what you were just talking about is that success in education. We have this Idaho Codes, which like College of Western Idaho is going to hold a coding camp on its campus for seventh graders to seniors in high school that could come and get this really foundational computer science course right at College of Western Idaho. So thank you for putting that together. Idaho Codes is a big deal. So,
well, thank you for setting that opportunity for us to actually partner with it on it. It's a win-win for both of us. It's great. It's a big win for students. It's a huge
it is.
For students.
We need to have.
The other thing you can't fight, Jay, is enthusiasm. And we got a group of people at CWI that are enthusiastic and passionate and dedicated about moving it forward. So I'm looking at that and saying the seed's been planted there, and the enthusiasm of that school is going to really have momentum and carry it forward.
Bert, I totally agree with you. Enthusiasm is contagious, right? And that's the reason people like being around Bert Glandon. So talk about this. What's next for Bert Glandon? I mean, you're going to be, you've been the president, like over at Treasure Valley Community College. You were there from like 1981 to 2000.
Yep.
You've been in the Valley for really helping influence the Valley. Now you're coming through that. What do you think the next iteration of Bert Glandon is going to be?
Jay, first of all, I'm going to spend some time with my grandson and my wife. Although after a week or so at home on remote with my wife, she thought it might be good if I reinvented myself and started a great adventure. I don't know yet. I'm still on 3 national organizations. I'm still actively involved in education pretty much across the country in a lot of different regards. I'm going to be very cautious in terms of what my next steps are. I know that I want to stay active and I want to stay involved. I'm going to take a little time off. I'll be absolutely honest with you. In November, I actually ended up in the hospital with COVID-19. I lost almost 3 weeks. I was a week in the hospital and I was on oxygen for 2 weeks after that. And that literally losing the month of November in that regard was sick. My wife and I sat down literally in December and said, okay, let's rethink about what we're doing and how we're doing it. I want to stay active. I want to stay involved, but I think I have to really take a good hard look about how I do reinvent myself and how we move forward.
Well, Bert, I did not know that about that you got hit pretty good with COVID. I didn't know that. So I'm glad that you came through it okay. That's good to know. Can I ask you one thing that you can do for us? One of the biggest things we have with the Idaho Technology Council is to have computing literacy, specifically in our K through 12 system. And then as that continues on in higher education and alternative pathways, I would love to be able to make sure we keep connected with you on that, because you're a great resource and a great visionary in that space. So let's make sure we keep that going.
I'll commit to that. I can commit to that today. So yes, we will stay in contact on that. And to my mom, I've got a 5-year-old grandson, which he's already got his own iPad. He's got his own this. He's got his own that. I know that that's the future. And if we don't keep developing that and building that, I think we're missing the whole boat in terms of that regard. So you have my commitment on that one, Jay.
Thank you so much, Bert. Anything else? Any last? I mean, I know we have enthusiasm. We got reach for the stars. We got BHAG type things. We've got, you've got all these things that I think are Bert-isms. Anything else you want to leave with us today?
Well, Jay, I just want to thank ITC too. You as the leader of ITC and your group has done a tremendous job of advocating for computer science and every component of that in the Valley. Thank you so much for being a great leader in terms of providing and moving ITC forward in a phenomenal way here in the Valley. And in the state of Idaho, what am I talking about? It's Idaho Technology Council. You've done some phenomenal work in that, and I really appreciate your leadership there. God bless you. Stay with it, stay in it, and stay strong. And I'll do whatever I can to help you move it forward.
Bert, thanks so much. And you're right. You can only do things because you have great people like our board and the other people have been involved like you. But I'm going to give you this part. I'm going to take my lemonade, and I'm going to do a toast for Bert Glandon and the time you've had at CWI and the impact you've had in our community. Thank you, Bert, for all you've done.
Hey,
Mr. Bert Glandon.
Thanks, Jay. Toast to you. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Bert. Well, here we are. We're winding down with Bert Glandon, current president, College of Western Idaho, and retiring at this summer. So we're so happy to have him on. We'll have in 2 weeks, we'll have another Innovation Matters. We'll have another great guest. And we'd like to hope that everybody here is thinking about how they can innovate and transform, because innovation is one of the biggest things you can have in your life. And remember, with the Idaho Technology Council, innovation matters. So be safe out there. Thanks, Bert.
Thanks, Jay. Have a great day. Thank you.
Thanks.